My transition to motherhood was really difficult. I had postpartum depression and my child was really colicky, and I found myself very unstable. I felt very emotionally reactive, kind of in uncharted waters for myself. Previously, I'd felt pretty empowered, like I knew what I was doing-ish, right? And then motherhood kind of threw me into that environment of like, oh my gosh, what I thought I knew about myself doesn't exist anymore. Welcome back, Women of Fort Mill. I am Leah Williams, joined by the best co-host, Kellie Hoover. And today we are joined by someone whose journey beautifully blends healing, creativity, human potential. She's so many things. A speech language pathologist turned Reiki Master, human design coach, community builder, mama of three, spouse, and the founder of Crafting Good. We're so excited to have Rachel Walt here with us. She is a woman who leads with changing this world. She has an incredible mission, and we are thrilled to have you with us. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so honored that you welcomed me in your community, and I'm really grateful to be here and excited about our conversation.
Well, it's going to be really hard to keep this conversation within podcast limits because there's so much to talk about, but you have a role that is multidisciplinary. You have intersected healing and creativity and potential that we have as humans and human design, which is something that we're going to focus a little bit on today, and the AMP method. Can you tell our audience, and can you share with Kellie and I a little bit more about you, how all these worlds merged and how you brought your passions for helping people and creating an impact, how you brought this all together in life?
Yeah. Well, we're also multidisciplinary too, right? And our world previously, historically, has been, you show up this one way so I can understand you this one way. And we are, as a collective, as a society, beginning to understand how dynamic all of us truly are. And I think my journey exemplifies that. I've always, though, had a foundation of wanting to change the world from the inside out. I had done that since I was a child. And then through my career as a speech language pathologist, I just really wanted to help people and empower people and connect with people. And that was my main channel growing up as a young professional, and through career avenues, and then through relationships and friendships, obviously. And then I became a mom. And so that mission was squeezed through that channel as well. I've got 3 kids, 10 and under. My transition to motherhood was really difficult. I had postpartum depression and my child was really colicky, and I found myself very unstable. I felt very emotionally reactive, kind of in uncharted waters for myself. Previously, I'd felt pretty empowered, like I knew what I was doing-ish, right? And then motherhood kind of threw me into that environment of like, oh my gosh, what I thought I knew about myself doesn't exist anymore. How was I so wrong about the world type of vibes? And through that, I expanded my seeking as far as not only appreciating Western approaches to medical care and psychological care, but I also started noticing my energy and emotional regulation and needing more than just what was being offered to me. And so through 2020, as many of us have had expanding experiences, maybe traumatic experiences through 2020, it kind of shifted our focus. And I was working at a hospital and getting really emotionally reactive, panic attacks, just really worried about bringing COVID home to my family, because as a speech pathologist, we work with COVID patients because of their swallowing disorders and deconditioning and cognitive impacts and stuff. So I was just worried to death. And I had been meditating for 20 years on and off, just very inconsistently. It was a tool I had, but never really depended on until that moment, and started setting boundaries every day, which I think was even more powerful than the meditation was just, I'm going to come home. I need an hour to re-enter the family. And at that time, my kids were 3, 2, and 1. So I was like, I need a minute. I took a long hot shower. I meditated. And then I started to see the impacts of what people claimed meditation could do, right? It really started integrating into my relationships with my kids, with my spouse, and then morphed as a career transformation as well, because I saw this tool and it was so helpful. Then I started folding Reiki energy work, and then I met human design, and all these tools create this beautiful toolbox of strategies that can help with the mind, body, spirit through all of your senses, through your feeling senses and your hearing senses and your visual senses, and just so impactful and very potent potent tools to help other people on their transformation journey. And so that was kind of my way of transitioning out of a more traditional Western style speech therapy in a hospital to more of an integrated communication approach to any person that wants to work with me. But mostly people that come to me are in transitions or having a hard time or up-leveling their career or changing relationships or in some sort of liminal space. That's where they find me. And these tools meet them right where they are and just really support them.
I love that so much. I mean, the fact that your business is truly inspired from your own personal journey is very impactful, especially when you're working with clients. And I would like to know, number one, what keeps you going on this journey? But then the second part of that question is, as a client, walk us through from a business standpoint. If a client is like, Rachel, I need this, like all what you just said, I am living where you were years ago before you started all this work on yourself. What does that look like for someone to work with you? If you could give us maybe your most popular example.
Yeah. Well, first of all, what keeps me going are my clients and their progress. I mean, I've had a lot of loss and a lot of transitions myself in the past few years. And I have always leaned on my clients and working with my clients as kind of my own support, my own coping strategy, because when you are aligned to your energetic outputs, which my clients and my work is, it feeds me, it gives me energy. And I know that through human design, also lived experiences. You can also yourself tap into those things that make you light up, give you energy, make you excited, make you curious, like wanting more. And my clients and working with my clients definitely do that. So what that looks like when someone is drawn to me, usually they have found me through maybe a podcast like yours, maybe a TV spot, or a lot of times at an expo, I go to different spas and locations around town or different retreats and do these mini experiences with human design. So it's called Spark Your Human Design. And we sit down for 20 minutes and we go over the major components of a human design chart. And a lot of times people, even just in those 20 minutes, the awareness unlocks and they're like, oh my gosh, how did you read me so hard? You don't know me. I just walked up to you. And then they feel so seen, they feel heard, they feel validated. They feel like someone has really actually seen their soul in a way that a lot of people don't get in our world, in our busy society, in our fast-paced society with priorities elsewhere, right? So they really feel empowered too, because even with those 20 minutes and I show them, if this resonates, try this. If that resonates, try that. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is like very easy to implement too. It can be a very confusing system and overwhelming system if you jump into it on your own and you're kind of in the deep. And I feel like when people come to me, I'm that little lighthouse or little lantern on their path, like, okay, yes, there's all of this new language out there. There's all of these dynamics out there, but let's eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? Like, let's get to the important parts and then how you can start playing with these dynamics of your energy and see and try on these dynamics and see if they're true to you. So human design is called the human design experiment for a reason. There's no guru on a hill telling you who you are and what you should do. It's meant for you to play with. It's meant for you to get into these dynamics and start noticing patterns and noticing your body and how different responses feel and how different environments feel and how different people's energy feels. And then you can start identifying with some of the concepts. So it's really empowering and it's not hierarchical. It's not cloaked behind some guru's door. It's really one for all of us to try and see if it resonates with us.
So, like I told you on the phone when we first spoke, well, when we met at an event, we have a mutual friend. And a couple years ago, when she and I were going on a walk, she was just raving about you. She said, oh my gosh, you have to meet Rachel. My life has totally changed since I have worked with her on human design. So I know you just explained a little bit of how human design feels. And a lot of people are familiar with that term, but some people like me a couple of years ago was, what is it? Is it astrology? Is it like the Enneagram? Is it like, and having an understanding of what it is, how it can help, and we'll in the show notes put a link so that everybody can get their chart. But to your point, having someone explain it to you, because it can feel overwhelming, but the second someone explains it, it's like everything clicks. The light is shown on it. You're like, oh my gosh, I now feel like I have more understanding, more direction. Could you put in simple terms? Human design, what is it? Why do people have a chart? What does it tell them? And how is it maybe similar or different from some other things that people have done, like Enneagram, or what's your personality type, or some just like
Right.
general?
Right. I mean, exactly. We all know all of those personality quizzes. Human design does not have a personality quiz, which is why it's my favorite, because I don't know about you all, but when I take the Enneagram test or Myers-Briggs or any of those personality tests that are well known, I have two different versions of myself taking the test. My one version is like, here's what I should, quote unquote, answer like, and then here's what I really think, and to varying levels of consciousness around that, right? Like, sure, yeah, I think I'm helpful. I'm probably a 2 in the Enneagram. And it's been interesting from a personal development perspective how my Enneagram has changed as much as I have grown into my authenticity and been more unapologetic about it. My Enneagram test has changed. Human design is different because what it does is it takes your birth date, time, and place and takes a snapshot of your energy when you were born. So half of the chart is the energy in the atmosphere. And I'll tell you the components in just a second that kind of describe how that happens. But half of the chart is energy right when you're born, and half of the chart is energy about 80 days before you were born. And the theory is that those different arrangements of planets and circumstances influence your genetics, influence the personality that you're going to express in this lifetime. So I think that's why it can feel so good to feel that somebody sees you and you can't manipulate the results, right? Because it's your birthday, time, and place. Like, I can't change that just because, maybe you answered a certain way here or a certain way there. There's no manipulation to the results. So it either resonates with you as you understand it or it doesn't. And maybe it's not a system for you if it doesn't resonate, because not everyone is going to respond to every single tool out there. Or maybe it's something that you grow into because you have a lot of limiting beliefs or you have a lot of judgments around some of the systems that it taps into. For instance, it uses astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life, the genetic code, and the Hindi chakra system. And if you opt out of any of those systems for varying degrees of reasons and beliefs, you might not feel resonant with the system because there are so many blocks in the way to allow yourself to identify with some of the results. So there could be varying degrees of how people respond to it. But I have found, by and large, if you are interested in this and you have come to me because you're seeking, there's going to be something for you that feels really supportive in the chart. So when you get your chart, and you can get it free on my website, you're going to see a visual that looks kind of like a body. And if you're familiar with yoga, if you've been to yoga and you've heard the term chakras or you know about energy centers, chakras are energy centers, and that comes from the Hindi chakra system. Those are represented by little shapes all over the body graph is what it's called, or the chart. Those are different energy centers and they represent different things located on different areas of the body. And it's actually really interesting, a beautiful way that my history of speech language pathology and my formal training comes together with this more esoteric system is through the human design chart, because the energy centers, the chakras, and the different ways that energy flows coordinate so well to the human nervous system and the actual electricity that we are built with. So if you find yourself a little bit skeptical, good. Like, use your creativity, use your critical thinking skills, but there are entry points that might feel more comfortable, like knowing about the nervous system and knowing about your energy is a really good place to start with some of these things. I had a lot of conditioning from my upbringing around what astrology was, what the chakra systems were, and Kabbalah I learned through learning about human design. So if you can stay curious and stay open-hearted and open-minded about this, there's a lot of things for you there. But what it does is describe how your energy flows innately in you, what your gifts are, what your personality traits are, how to make decisions. It can inform really solid, concrete ways on how to make decisions, different energetic patterns that could help you or limit you. It's very visual. It can inform where some healing could happen and where to flow your gifts. Maybe if you're looking for a purpose, that can inform your purpose because there's a life purpose place in the chart. So there's beautiful things to tap into if you can stay curious and open-minded and take it one thing at a time. But it's what I like about it. I'm a very visual person and it's a visual representation of the energy. So if you have a hard time tapping into how you're feeling, or if you've had trauma in the past and you're living with trauma, it's really hard to feel safe in your body. And this can help you get there because it's the visual aspect of some of the things you might have gone through or going through, and then how to work with yourself and with your body and mind and spirit instead of pushing against it.
Wow, that is fascinating. I've actually done human design, and I will tell you, Rachel, when I got my chart back, I was like, I don't even understand any of this. And it is like what you just explained, and having someone like yourself to be able to interpret it and really
Yeah.
give you some guidance it's an extreme key piece of it. So I know that you have shared, you've walked through burnout, obviously through transitions in your life and getting to the point where human design has helped you personally and now it's helping your
Mhm.
clients. Would you tell our listeners a little bit more about crafting good and the AMP method and really like how you, Rachel, are taking people kind of through that transition, that through your mentorship and mindfulness, and specifically like what you do through crafting good?
Yeah, so I have varying engagements with clients depending on what their needs are and what their availability is and capacities are. Human design specifically, I've got a 90-minute offering that allows people to bring their questions and concerns to me. And I digest their chart. I make this beautiful digital version of their chart with every explanation. So you have something tangible in your hand. And then we meet together for 90 minutes and go through everything. So I have essentially digested their energy from what I know to be true through their chart. And I put together different patterns, different energetic patterns that rise to the surface for me that might feel really supportive to them. I also use my intuition. I'm a very intuitive person. And so I allow myself to also navigate their chart using my intuition. And then when we meet together, I'm also like, hey, what is at the top for you? What would feel so meaningful to you? What do you want to walk away with? Do you want to walk away with like smoother relationships or more clarity around a job transition? Or do you want to feel solid in your decision making, those kinds of things? Or like general physical or mental health. It doesn't even have to be specific. A lot of people come to me and they're like, I don't know, I just need support. And so I meet them where they are and then we navigate this thing together. So that's what that unleash your human design experience looks like. And then I have, like you said, the mentorship, which is where I see a lot of the transformation. I work with people sometimes once a week, sometimes once a month. And then we use Voxer, if you're familiar with that, the walkie-talkie app where we can workshop energetic and emotional dynamics in real time. And I think the combination of having a home base on Zoom or in-person meeting for an hour once a month or once a week, depending on what they need, and then having the freedom to chat and ask questions and go deeper through the human design chart over Voxer, or if somebody really triggers you at work and you want to show up as your highest self and you want to flow your energy the way you know you should, but your triggers are getting in the way, you can debrief that with me on Voxer. And I think that really helps and integrates with that. I also have a circle platform that people can access my Reiki meditation library. There's some ones for triggers in there. If you're feeling just like everything is just bothering you and you don't know why, there's an answer for that in there. But there's also human design specific meditations that I think is a pretty unique offering for people, and I can direct people there. There's also healing modalities like journaling prompts and things like that. So all of my clients get access to that. So it's really a 360 kind of community environment. When you come into my sphere, you can also see me at spas and expos and things, and you can bring, like I've had clients that I've worked with on a one-off engagement come to those and say, okay, remember in our Unleash, you told me this, but now I'm going through that. How can I integrate this? And even just having those consistent touch points, 20 minutes here and there or one-off session here or there can really help support people, even if they don't need a one-on-one. One of the things that just opened my mind and thought, wow, this could really be a powerful tool. And I have not furthered my path. I need to meet with you, but I did this on my son because I think as parents and moms, we are, nobody gave us a manual. And even if they did, the manual looked different for every child. And it was so cool to see my son's human design chart. And I showed it to my husband. He was, that's Calvin. He was totally, oh my gosh. So even for ourselves, I think it's incredible, but even as parents and learning how to be the best parent. Oh my gosh, yes.
What would you say for women that maybe feel out of alignment or just want to find purpose? And I think it's easy for a lot of us to have this conversation with moms all the time where we're constantly in these roles and sometimes figuring out, who am I at the core? Like, you have to roll away. What is my purpose? What is my human design? What would you suggest for them as the first step or something to pursue or a resource that they should seek out if they're feeling this way?
Yeah, well, first I would say put your hand on your heart and just validate yourself. You are right where you need to be. You're doing a great job and you're doing the best you can. And you are here for a reason. And I think staying open, staying curious, following your curiosity one thing at a time. Definitely, if human design piques your interest, get your chart. And even if you don't feel comfortable like reaching out quite yet, Google, right? Google can do wonders on there. There's so many podcasts and blogs. Please follow me. We Are Crafting Good on Instagram. I share a lot of human design stuff. Email me, show up to one of those expos where we can do a 20-minute offering and just get your feet wet, get a couple tools under your belt and start playing with some of the major aspects of your chart. I think if motherhood is feeling really sticky right now and maybe your child is going through something or you feel like you're in the deep end of motherhood, getting your kid's chart and starting to tell different stories about the kid. I think that's where it's really helped me. So I have two kids actually that have this energy in their profile where it's really important for them to learn through experiences. So instead of telling a story about how they screw up all the time and they never listen, now I get to tell a story of, they won't integrate this lesson. They won't learn this until they put their energy into that experience. So how can I make it safe for them to learn this lesson and not just yap directions at them, which will never actually work? So the human design chart can give you tools like that to feel more empowered. And I know, no, we don't give a manual. We don't get a manual out and one parenting strategy works brilliantly for a kid and then it falls totally flat or makes things worse with another kid. But the human design chart is the closest that I have found to giving you perspective. But I think what it helps you do is tell different stories. Tell different stories about yourself, tell different stories about your spouse, tell different stories about your coworkers, your community, the people around you, and definitely your kids. For instance, I have energy that is very inconsistent. I need a container, like a larger container of things, like my morning routine. I want to get up early, but I don't know what my body needs every single day. So to do something consistent doesn't work for me. My whole life, and I'm 42, literally since 35 years or whatever, I've told myself, I'm not disciplined. I'm not consistent. What's wrong with me, right? Like we personalize that. When I saw that in the human design chart, years of conditioning and shame and storytelling fell off my shoulders. And I was like, oh, I'm just not designed like that. Like, how can I create structures in my life that allow myself to be successful, to have energy, to have love, to be on point, to be aligned to who I truly am, instead of trying to fit myself in the box that you hear about in our culture?
Oh, so fascinating. Leah, we definitely need to sit down individually with Rachel, don't we? I know I'm like, oh,
This is so fun. It will be so fun to do the two of you too. So you could do individual charts, but you can do connection charts with one other person's energy. You can do whole families or teams, because when 3 to 5 people are together, they create this whole other aura and the dynamics change. And it's so illuminating. So if there's any Fort Mill women out there that are at jobs that maybe could use some team support, that is a really great option. I've done that with a few different teams and they've taken the tools and then dynamics and ran with it. And you should see the impacts like immediately with that.
okay, we know what we're going to do. And maybe we do it live. So all the Women of Commission podcast listeners could tune in. So we definitely stay tuned to all of our podcast listeners. But Rachel, so many fascinating things. I know a lot of the listeners are probably thinking the same thing Leah and I are doing. Like, how do I start? How do I get connected with Rachel? Of course, we're going to have everything in the show notes, but will you tell us a little bit about how people can connect with you? And then also if you have any special offers for our audience.
Yes, I do have a special offer. If you use the code Fort Mill, you get 15% off anything on my website. So please take advantage of that. That includes that Unleash experience I was telling you about, that one-on-one deep dive of your human design. That includes the Spark Your Human Design. So definitely take advantage of that. You can find that on my website, craftinggood.com. And there's 1G in that, one word, 1G. And you can find me, We Are Crafting Good on Instagram. And I'm mostly active on Instagram. I mean, you'll see me on Facebook, but you'll find me more on Instagram. So those two places are probably the best bang for your buck. You can also email me at hello@craftinggood if you have any specific questions.
Oh, so wonderful. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh,
and
thank you
for
all.
sharing your knowledge, your story, your wisdom. You're such a light, not only here within our community, but just people getting to know you and all the offerings. And so you guys, please make sure that you check out the show notes, get in touch with Rachel, take this one step further, because having these sort of tools in our toolbox can only impact us more, which means we can impact the people in our lives, not only within our family, but within our community and within our space and everywhere. So thank you so much, Rachel, for being on. Leah, thank you so much. amazing co-host. And thank you, listeners. Thank you to all the women of Fort Mill and those others that are not in Fort Mill. We are so grateful that you can listen to us and you can tune in every single Wednesday at Women of Fort Mill podcast. Please also find us on Instagram. Give us a follow, give Rachel a follow, and also make sure that you stay connected with our newsletter. We have some incredible potential events coming out in 2026, and you'll be the first to know when you're on our newsletter. So thank you again, Rachel, so much. We really enjoyed having you on today.
Well, thank you all so much. So grateful.
All right. We'll see you on another episode of Women of Fort Mill podcast.